Real fast before I start today's podcast episode is I want to invite you to my free live training that I'm hosting next Tuesday, June 10th. Yes, it's going to be fully live. You can join me, and we're going to be going over the one thing that you must do if you want to launch a successful candle business. And I'm also going to go over the number one mistake that I see aspiring candle business owners make and how you can avoid it. So again, this is going to be next Tuesday, June 10th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so here in California time. And even if you aren't able to make it live with me, make sure you still save your seat so that you are able to get the link for the replay. So if you want to go and save your seat for this live training with me, go to ericamariemorris.com/free training, and I'm so excited to see you there. It has now been 5 years and a couple months since I launched my candle business. And every once in a while, I like to ponder and reminisce and think back on everything I didn't know at that time and what I wish I would have known at that pre-launch stage, right before I was about to launch. What were some things that I wish that I would have known that would have helped me out so much more? Because that's what I like to share on this channel, is basically just telling you everything that I wish I would have known, my experience, just so you can go into your candle business a much better way than how I got started. So in today's episode, I'm just going to share 3 things that I wish that I would have known when I launched my candle business. Welcome to episode 42 of the Candle Business Podcast. If this is your first time joining me here today, hello, my name is Erica, and I have my own small candle business called Memory Box Candle Co. that I run with my husband, Chris. And together we have an almost 2-year-old little boy who is both wonderful and crazy at the same time, a lot of energy. But on this podcast, I love to share everything that I have learned over the last 5 years of my own candle business journey. And in today's episode, I want to be specific about 3 specific things that I wish that I would have known when I was first launching my business. So this is specific to the launch phase, which I know that a lot of you are in right now or will be very soon. And the first thing that I wanted to discuss in today's episode is I wish that I would have known that business plans were not just for the big businesses, if you know what I mean. When I was getting started with everything, I thought to myself, okay, I am not a business expert. I'm just kind of having fun getting this all together, and we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of loving the creativity, loving the creation process. I love seeing how much people love my candles and the feedback that I'm getting, and I'll just kind of see what happens. But I think the hard part with that is that specifically with where I am in my business now, which our business is doing really well. We are on track again to do 100,000 plus for the year in our candle business. And if I were to have sat down and actually thought, okay, where do I want to take my candle business? And I get that at the time I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't really understand how to create a business plan. And again, I thought that creating a business plan was just for people that had a huge team, tons of analytics. I thought that in order to have a business plan, it meant that you had to, be a really want to be this huge business. And that's not the case at all. So a business plan is really just to help you figure out where you are taking your business and how to get there. So instead of thinking about a business plan in this huge, complicated, document all these different specifics and details, which is what I thought. I thought, okay, people always talk about having a business plan, but what if I'm just trying it out? What if I'm just putting my candles out there and seeing what happens? What if I'm just, having fun with it and wanting to turn my hobby into a business to just kind of see what happens? And the problem with that is that if you truly know in your heart that you want to actually make money in your business, if you are not wanting to just, if you are okay with putting your candles into the world and not making any sales, that's a perfectly fine way to go about it, is to just put it out there. Whatever happens, happens. And I promise you that you will not see the results or the sales that you are innately hoping for when you put your candles into the world. Because if you don't have a plan, it's really challenging to know where you need to be putting your time and where you need to be putting in your effort. So I'm just here to tell you right now that even if you are like how I was in the beginning, where you're just so excited to turn this into a business and you're like, but I'm not like the big businesses out there. I don't think that I have to have this big elaborate business plan. And no, you don't. You don't have to have a big elaborate business plan. But what you do need to figure out is who you are selling your candles to and what value you are bringing to them and how you can find those customers. Those are really the three main things that you need to be thinking about in order to actually execute on your business plan, in order to actually take action to get the sales that I know you are hoping for. I know that you are not wanting to start this candle business and not make any sales. Regardless of how you feel about the business side of things, regardless of your kind of the attitude you may have of, I'm just trying to put it all together and figure it all out, and whatever happens, happens, and I'll figure it out along the way. And trust me, I get it. I totally get it. But if you take a little bit of time to figure out those three things of figuring out what value you're bringing to your customer, who you're actually selling to, and how you can reach them, it's going to help you out so much more in the long run. And it's going to set you off way, way, way better than how I got started, where I just put my candles out there and had no plan at all whatsoever. And I think it would have also been helpful if I would have had at least one goal, just one goal of mine that I could have set for a certain amount of time that I would have tried to hit, because I was just feeling like I was this, I don't know, just in the middle of a huge ocean and just trying to keep my head above water and trying to figure out where I'm going. There's all these different directions that I'm looking at, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, I don't know where to go. Do I go over here, over there, over there? Like, there are so many different places that you can go. And then it makes you feel so stagnant. It makes you feel like you have no idea which direction to move in because you don't know what the right thing is to do. If you're like me, you are so focused on what is the right thing that I should be doing, what is the right product description, what is the right marketing technique that I should be focusing on, or strategy, or whatever it is. Where's the right place that I need to be? And really, there is no answer to that question unless you create a simple plan for yourself. If you don't have a plan, how do you know where you're going? So in last week's episode, I talked about how to actually set and hit your business goals. So these two topics really tie in together, because I want you to think about your business goals no matter where you are in your candle business journey. You may just be testing. You may be in the pre-launch phase. You may have launched already. There are so many things that you can do right now that's going to set you up so much better for the future. And that really just starts with having a very simple, intentional business plan. The next thing that I wish I would have known when I was first launching my candle business is I wish I would have known that posting about my pre-launch, building hype around my products, would have been the best thing for me to do. I thought that, I can't really post too much because I don't have any products yet. I don't have anything for sale. I posted a little bit, but there was nothing there that was really enticing. It was really just a lot of like, doing some testing, just a couple of pictures of some candles on my rack that I had in the living room. And if I were to be doing things differently now, I would be posting a ton. I would be talking directly to my ideal customers. I would be asking questions. I would be doing polls. I would be strategically talking about the creation process and posting as much as I can to build that engagement and build that excitement. You can think about it kind of like when a new movie is going to be launching and they don't just drop it randomly one day. They're building hype over it. They're giving, basically an overview, a behind the scenes look at what the movie is going to be about. That's kind of what a trailer is. So you can think about that you are creating the trailer for your candle business. You are creating the hype. You are building up a following before you actually launch your candle business, so that when you do launch, you have people that are waiting to actually purchase your candles from you. And again, this is something that I just didn't think that I should do, because I thought, well, I'm not really in business yet because I haven't launched my business. I don't have anything for sale. So why would I be posting things if it's not for sale? If somebody sees it and they think, ooh, I would love that candle, but then it's not for sale and then they can't get it. But it's all strategically how you are talking about things. You can have the coming soon. You can talk about the story, and do not fall into what I did, to where I was so nervous to look unprofessional. I'm like, I have to figure out ways that I can look as professional as I can. And I got so caught up in how I was going to be perceived in terms of professionalism, even though I didn't really work towards that. It's not like I spent a ton of time trying to look professional or have any kind of copywriting skills that would be perceived as professional or whatever. But I was so nervous that people would look at me and think, oh, they're brand new. They've never sold anything before, so I'm just going to keep walking. So I had no idea what to post. So I didn't really post a lot before I actually launched my candle business. I think I made a few posts. I did some stories, but overall, I didn't post a lot about what I was doing, because I was just so nervous that people would find me and that it would almost be kind of something to tease me about. So I've always hated being teased. I cannot stand being teased. And being a younger sister, I have been teased my entire life. And I was just so nervous that if I wasn't 100% ready to sell, if I wasn't 100% happy with the products that I had available for sale, that I somehow was going to be laughed at, or that people were going to look at my products and think, oh, like she's definitely new. Like she's definitely never done this before. And maybe that was an irrational fear that I had at the time, but it really stopped me from sharing a lot and really trying to build a connection with my future customers. And I remember there was this one girl who did this flawlessly. She did a wonderful job about really showcasing her products that she was making. She never actually ended up launching or anything. She actually just kind of disappeared. It was really weird, but because she really built up a following. I mean, I'm talking, she built up a following of, I think, 5,000 to 10,000 followers, and she had never launched before. It was just her whole making process. She was showing all these different products that she was thinking about making, and she was getting feedback from people of, you get that instant feedback of, are people liking this or people liking this? So when you're going through your testing phase, if you are back and forth between your vessels, your jars, your scents, whatever it is, and you are building up a Instagram page and a community around your niche or your target demographic, and you're able to connect directly with those people and get their feedback on it, it's going to help you out so much when you do launch. And I know that this process can seem really intimidating. Again, trust me, I was there. I was very intimidated by it because I thought, well, I feel like an imposter because I'm not actually in business, but yet I'm promoting products, but I don't have them for sale. It was just a weird concept for me. But just know that when you build hype over something, when you start building things up and getting people excited about your launch, what you're doing is you're actually building your future customers before you actually put your products out for sale, so that when you do launch your business, you actually have customers that are waiting to purchase from you. And then the last thing that I wish that I would have known when I was launching my candle business is that I wish I would have known that there is an emotional component to launching. There totally is. If you are feeling nervous, fearful, kind of shy, kind of overwhelmed, anxious, all of these things, it's totally normal. And the reason behind that, I feel like, is a couple of things. One, we all have a natural fear of rejection. We have a fear that we're going to put our products out into the world and they're going to be rejected. Nobody's going to want them. Nobody's going to buy them. Totally normal thought process. And I have felt the exact same way. And I also feel like because we're handmade business owners, it takes things to a whole nother level. It takes the emotional component of starting a business and it like quadruples it. The reason behind that is because not only are we starting a business where we are making ourselves vulnerable and essentially asking people for money for something that we're selling. If you think about the realistic, component to how business works, we also have to add in the fact that we are hand making those items. And that adds in emotion. It adds in an emotional component. It makes you feel more connected to your products. So therefore, it makes the rejection that much harder. It makes the rejection hurt that much more because you have this emotional connection with the time and energy and work that you put into everything that goes into creating your product. I mean, we all know how much goes into creating a candle. And not to mention the testing process, the figuring out labels, the figuring out, the different scents that you want to have. There's so much that goes into it. So when we actually put our products out into the world and are basically saying, hey, this is a part of me that I created. And do you like it? Do you like it enough to give me money for it? It's very vulnerable. So just know that going into it. I did feel emotional and super nervous, that feeling in my chest, my heart, that like you're about ready to go and, go onto a big roller coaster or go give a speech or a presentation and you're just like, oh, you feel it in your chest, your stomach, and it's so overwhelming for you. And just know that that's completely normal to feel that way. And I also want you to know that over time, you will learn to separate your emotions from your products. You have to. If you want to be successful and really grow with your business, you have to learn to separate those emotions because there are going to be so many instances where you will get certain feedback from your customers, complaints, or, something that you just don't want to hear. And it can be really hard to not respond emotionally, to not have that emotional reaction to it. So I just want you to know that there is a lot of emotion in business. It's not just business is business and it's this cold, lifeless, personalityless, I don't know if that's the word, but I always thought that business was something that was cutthroat and just like no emotion and all logic and reasoning. And it's not at all. It's kind of the opposite, to be honest, because when you're really looking to do well in your business, you have to have an emotional connection with your customers. And in turn, you are also having an emotional connection with your own business, with your own products that you are selling. If you have a lot of pride behind your products, if you believe in them, then you're going to be that much more emotionally connected to your products when you put them out onto the market. So I just wanted to throw this one in here because I had no idea how much starting a business was an emotional journey as much as it is a business journey. I mean, it's a business journey, personal growth, emotional. There's so much growth that happens. So when you are feeling doubtful right before you launch, when you're starting to justify pushing out your launch, or you start to have all these thoughts in your head of what if nobody buys? What if nobody likes them? What if this happens? What if that happens? Then it's completely normal. It's completely normal, and you will have that emotional connection and you will have that emotional response. But just know that over time, especially as a handmade business owner, you will start to have more of the business mindset, have a little bit more of that disconnect when needed to your products to be able to have good customer service and move along and grow in your business in the ways that you need to. It's not to say that you will be completely emotionally disconnected from your products, but it does actually help to not be super, super emotionally connected, because as you know, it can really hurt if you don't get the kind of feedback that you're looking for. Honestly, there's so much that you learn as you actually experience launching, starting, and growing a candle business. There's so much that plays into it that you learn, the mistakes, the trial and errors, the wins, all these different things that you can take and learn from, and then implement what works and then take away what doesn't. So I hope today's episode really helped you out, just to give you some insight into my mind 5 years later of some things that I wish I would have known when I was launching my candle business. And don't forget to sign up for my free training, because we're going to dive more into this topic. I'm going to be talking about the one thing that you must do if you want to launch a successful candle business. We're going to be talking about mistakes, and I'm really going to help you get clarity on your candle business during this free training. But with that, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Candle Business Podcast. I hope it encouraged you as you move forward in your own candle business journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, or if you've been loving the podcast, I would appreciate it so much if you could take just a few moments to give the show a rating and maybe even a written review, so that it can help reach more aspiring business owners just like you. And always remember to spend every day working towards a life that your future self will be proud of.